at it and make sure they have exactly the right person in there.
Steve Schmidt.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. Speaking of the safety and security of Americans, in this election, by the consensus of the intelligence agencies of this country, we had a hostile foreign power, Russia, attempting to interfere in the election process with cyber attacks on important institutions. Can we expect in the new Congress that you will convene hearings to look at this very, very seriously?
Well, I think there'll definitely be hearings, and just for what it's worth, Senator Cardin, who I have a great relationship with, who's the ranking member on our committee, we went down during the period of time where people were discussing this and had a classified briefing. And I mean, Steve, you're, I know, a very sophisticated guy, and you do know that countries, sophisticated countries, do things, and there is espionage, and there are activities that take place between large and sophisticated countries. Never was it stated in these that it was Russia. My sense is it likely was, but the fact is that, no, I think people will take it seriously, and there'll be numbers of hearings to truly understand what has occurred here. But I just want to say one more time, I mean, in the world of covert activities, countries, large sophisticated countries, do things against each other to understand what's happening within those countries. And I think people who have been around for a while understand that's what happens.
Of course, Senator, I agree with that completely. Obviously, we were caught, the United States, eavesdropping on the Chancellor of Germany's phone calls, a NATO ally. But maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't think there's ever been an instance where a hostile foreign power has ever tried to overtly interfere in the outcome of a U.S. election by putting their thumb on the scale. Do you think that the nature of those attacks in this election was unprecedented or typical?
I think what was unprecedented, Steve, was the fact that they did so overtly. The fact is that there's nothing that Putin would like more than to discredit the electoral process here in our country because, and look, we in some ways helped discredit their process back in 2011. And so there's no question. I mean, what was unprecedented about this was the overt nature. I think, again, things constantly are occurring where countries are doing things to in some ways destabilize. I mean, it happens. We know that.
Can I break the code for you? I mean, what you aren't saying and what you won't say is we do it, Russia does it, China does it, Israel does it, and we're doing it at each other every day. Obviously, this was unique.
It was very unique that the way it was done in a manner to be visible to the world. That was a new step, and I really do think, and I do believe they were involved. I have no proof of that at present. I do believe they were involved. And I do believe that it was purposely done to try to embarrass and to discredit. What's interesting is the people of Russia were watching all of this and watching what they thought was, quote, a rigged election. Again, I'm just repeating, I'm not giving an observation myself, but a rigged election towards a particular candidate, in this case, Secretary Clinton. And then all of a sudden, someone won who no one thought was going to win, and in many ways it backfired on Putin, because now the people of Russia understand, hey, there is a real democratic process here in our country, and even though things may look like there's going to be a certain outcome, different things can happen. So look, but we need to pay attention. And Steve, I'm not in any way dismissing what you're saying, and there will be hearings, and obviously the integrity of our process is something that we hold dearly.